Okay, team, here we are for Jack's Alpha League Game 2. This is Week 2. And this is the Lizardmen team Serial Killers versus Tyrion's Tamers, which is the Dwarf team. And you'll see as I'm playing the video here that I'm going to speed up some things so that you won't be completely blinded by our brilliance and how long it takes us to think sometimes to make these moves. So here we have people setting up defense. Serial Killers won the toss and chose to kick, and you'll see, just like most of your teams, everybody is basic. For Lizardmen, Skinks get dodge and stunty by default, and the Sauruses, he moved out of the way there. The Sauruses get a movement of 6, strength of 4, agility 1, which makes them very crappy dodgers, jammy dodgers, if you will, and a armor value of 9, which, as you'll see through the course of this game, does me absolutely no good whatsoever. Over on the dwarf side, there's the Blitzer. He's got block and tackle. This is the one player that is level 2 on the field. Derek has already leveled up the Blitzer and given him tackle, which is a very valuable skill considering most of the Skinks have dodge. Others, his blockers include tackle by default, which is also really crappy for a dodge-enabled team. And then he has this Gigantor Death Roller, oh my god, get out of the way player, which is just crazy talk. Mighty Blow, Stand Firm, Break Tackle, Dirty Player, Juggernaut. And then all the bad news is Loner, which means if you use a reroll on him, you have to make a Loner roll. If you fail the Loner roll, you lose the reroll without the opportunity to actually reroll the attack. No hands means that this rolling ball of death cannot actually carry a ball. And Secret Weapon, fortunately as I found out, meant that you can only have this player on for 1 possession. So the Dwarves will have this player only for 1 possession, but as you will see as the game continues, that's really all they need him for. There's the Troll Slayer here as well, Dauntless, which means if you're attacking a player of lesser strength than you, you count as equal strength. That was me waiting on my arrow to appear for the kickoff, and the arrow never really appearing, so the game just automatically kicking off for me. Fortunately, it didn't go out of bounds, but it is a little further up the field than I would want at the beginning of the game. And the kickoff table for that was Get the Ref, which is a kickoff roll where the ref has been beaten up by the crowd, and it means that both teams will get an extra bribe because the new ref that's come on as the replacement ref is now afraid of the crowd having been beaten, the first one having been beaten up by the crowd. So that gives us both an extra bribe. It's like an inducement that we didn't have to pay for, much to our advantage. And as you see right there, Steamroller number 1, as the Steamroller takes out my first Saurus, which is only a knockdown, which is okay. I'm going to go ahead and speed this up now. You'll hear some speed up in the audio while there's some thinking going on. And here we have the second knockdown of a Saurus, which results in an injury, and a little bit of replay there for your viewing pleasure. This is one of what ends up being several incredible rolls through the course of this game. You're rolling 2d6, which means you get a max 6 on each die. That roll was a 4-6 to break his armor, which is the minimum required of 10. And then on the injury roll was a 5-5, which means he's injured, and the 5-5 on the injury table is badly hurt. Now, that doesn't have any major long-term effect for that Saurus. What it does mean is this is turn 1, attack number 2, and I'm already down a player for this possession. New players don't come in until the end of the possession or the end of the half. So we see some blitzing going on, Skink getting pushed, thankfully, That was attacker down and pushed on those dice. I'll take that. So Skink gets pushed back. And the Blitzer rolls forward. I'm going to turn on the names here. That's the N key, is in names, for those of you who might want to do that on your own to see what positions are being played by what players. And then here comes the box, where the dwarves are establishing a front perimeter there and trying to create the box. So speeding it up a little bit. I think that Saurus is about to get it. And he does. Defender down. Although that's a 6 plus 3, the number of 6s this guy rolls. Tyrion's Tamers has some sort of stupid, crazy, savant luck, and rolls 6s more than anybody I've ever seen. So, and as you see right there on the pickup roll, he needed a 4 plus and rolled a 6, which is a critical success, meaning he's automatically got the pickup no matter what conditions exist. 2 go for it with the ball carrier, incredibly enough, passing both of those, putting his ball carrier further up the field. I blitz down the blocker, trying to hurt somebody, trying to get a little bit back after the immediate takedown of one of my guys. Skink speeds around the end there, trying to poke a little fun at his ball carrier, though I decided not to do the go for it because it wasn't worth it to have him still 1 square out from being able to take out the ball carrier. Speeding up here, while I'm thinking, you'll see Lizardmen are establishing a perimeter, which with a high strength team with everybody having tackle like this, pretty much as a speed team, that's really what you can do, is establish a perimeter. There I had 2 dodge rolls to get out of attack range, so the only people are at threat are those Sauruses there in the middle, which you just saw on replay. The Death Roller, he rolls a 5-4 plus 1, which is Mighty Blow, which the Death Roller gets, getting him the armor break roll that he needed. And then on the injury roll, he rolls another 5-6. That's an 11 injured. Again, no long-term penalty for the serial killers, but it means turn 2, I'm now 2 down in players on the pitch. That death roller ends up being the death of me in this first set of possessions here. So speeding it back up, you see he hasn't used his blitz yet. He didn't need the blitz for the death roller. But here comes the blitz from the Troll Slayer on the Skink, stunning him and trying to open up a hole there for the runner. So we have a Skink down and 2 Sauruses out already. Blitzers move a little bit forward, and that threatens the Saurus. There's a tackle zone there. And I'm sure we're about to see some attacks on the 2 Sauruses that don't require the blitzing. Oh, here comes the ball carrier. We're going to move ball carrier a little bit forward. There into the new box. And here come the Saurus blitzes. Oh no, get an extra tackle zone there on him. There's the Saurus down. He's just down. He's not stunned, which means I might have the ability to use him again next turn. Dwarves solidifying the block, unfortunately only getting a push on that Saurus, which will free him up to move on this turn, which is now mine. I'm going to lead with the Saurus against the Blitzer. Unfortunately only getting a push. I'm not going to follow there because it'll put him on the ball carrier, but it'll put him on the ball carrier with 4 tackle zones. And with 2 Sauruses already eliminated from the game, I wasn't willing to risk that. The other Saurus comes around to close my perimeter. You'll see, rather than trying to take on these beefy dwarves, I'm going to continue to establish a perimeter and try not to die. So Skink dodges away, second Skink dodges away, and another Skink comes around because with the perimeter on the back side of the ball carrier, having that Skink on the back side does nothing for me. Tried to make a dodge roll, tried to make a dodge roll away with that Saurus, and don't make it, so I decide not to spend a reroll on something so trivial, just let him fall down, until he rolls a 6-4 on the armor value roll, which does break the armor of a 9 armor Saurus, and then he rolls boxcars on the injury roll, which means that Saurus is dead. That player is gone for good, which is the third consecutive 10+ roll on an injury for the dwarves, and there's no bonus to that. That was just 3 consecutive incredible rolls for injuring an opposing player. And so now this is third turn, 3 Sauruses down, one of whom is dead. And so naturally I'm getting a little worried long about now. Ganging up on the skink there to make sure I don't blitz his runner with the skink. They're pretty dodgy, so it would only take 1 dodge roll if nobody was marking him, but the dwarves decided to mark the skink there, which is a pretty smart move. So I think there's some more thinking here that will speed up and speed around. Closing in the box, closing in the box. And he missed a dodge roll there. That runner decided to go around the end, and the skink pegged him as he came over, ending the dwarves' turn. So I get a push here from that block result, which pushes the guy out of the front of the box. And I do some more thinking. Run the skink in. That cost me a reroll because I failed that dodge roll trying to get the skink around to the backside of the runner. That was my first reroll.